Let it burn, let it burn, gonna let it burn.
Evil Dead Burn is the sixth installment in the Evil Dead franchise, starring the director, not starring, directed by French filmmaker Sébastien Vaniček. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. And it's got an approximate budget of $20 million, which is pretty good for a horror movie, at least recently, all things considered. But it is a big budget horror movie. It has a runtime around 1 hour 50 minutes. The performances are very good. I don't know, like, how much to elaborate on that, because I don't know how much spoilers I want to give. But Hunter Doohan, that's his name. I've only ever seen him in Wednesday, but I mean, even in that show he's really good. In this show he did a spectacular job of just standing still while people around him were getting attacked. Here's my best impression of his acting. Like, he had to have been a fan of One Republic for the amount of times he was just stopping and staring. The performances were great all around. There was not a single weak performance, and I think with these kinds of movies, you're only as good as their like weakest link in terms of the actor. Like, no, for a horror movie, you can't really carry it, especially with the cast that's semi small. I think there's pretty much only 5 main characters. It's all the family and the in-laws, and the movie spends a lot of time with them, equally just building them all up. You really, really get a sense of the motivations in characters for all of them, except I want to say the girlfriend of the girlfriend of the girlfriend of the how do I say this without spoiling it to people? Like, when she was not, like, this is in the trailer, so she becomes a deadite. But when she was literally human, I could not tell you a single defining characteristic of her personality. But the moment she turned into a deadite, bro, her her actress, who's her actress, Lucianne Buchanan. My God, does she turn it up to 11? She is literally the best deadite. She has the best deadite performance in this Evil Dead movie. I won't say the best deadite performance of all time, but in this movie, she absolutely killed it. Like, oh my God. And the dynamic between her and the boyfriend, chef's kiss, was very, very entertaining. The mom was very mentally unstable. We love that. The grandma was, yeah, she she did her thing. She did her thing. The dad, oh, that one was brutal. I'll touch more upon. There's a specific scene, but I'll say that for my scene of the movie. As far as the performances go, loved it. Everyone did their thing. Everyone carried their weight. It was amazing. Even the dog, god damn, Cujo went crazy. But what I don't want to say didn't like, but my problems with the movie come with the plot and the writing. Okay, I'm gonna say this franchise kind of lives and dies on, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you're getting the same regurgitated Evil Dead plot with every single movie. There's literally like no difference. At least for the recent Evil Dead movies, if you watched one of them, you've kind of watched all of them. You got a bunch of secluded campers. They have their own problems going on, and then some idiot goes in a corner and reads a book that says, "Hey, don't read this," and they're like, "Oh," and then they manage to summon a demon. Regurgitate the same plot over and over again, right? In Evil Dead Rise, it was about motherhood, and in this one, it's about abusive relationships, both like parental and romantic. In this one, does a really good job of foreshadowing it, because if you're not really paying attention, it can kind of come across left field. In the beginning, how do I do this without spoilers? Damn, this is hard. All right, I'm gonna spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I warned you. But basically, the main character's husband is abusive. Okay, in the beginning of the movie, he's shown to have like random outbursts, and so, for example, his brother's having like a birthday, and then they all get him gifts, and the husband gets mad that his wife gave her own separate gift to his brother, and they start a huge argument, and then suddenly, like in front of everyone in public, by the way, he smashes his hand on like a windshield and breaks the glass. And this is what he does in public, mind you. So like, you have no idea how this guy's gonna act in private, right? Clearly, he's not a right in the head kind of guy. There was clues and hints that he was an abusive guy, right? And so throughout the movie, you are facing the main character's internal dilemma and internal dialogue, and coming to terms with this abusive relationship in this family. And then one of the characters that sort of sparks this dynamic is the mother character, who's kind of like a see no evil kind of person, who knew about this behavior going on and chose to willfully ignore it, and says, as a wife, it's your duty to do this, do that, and then turn a blind eye to all of that, and you should have endured it for the sake of family. And that's very toxic. That's very bad, right? And these secondary themes, I feel like if explored more and fleshed out more, would have been a little bit better. But the problem is, with these kinds of Evil Dead movies, they don't really, you're not getting room enough for it to really like linger in your head. Do you know what I mean? It's, don't get me wrong, you watch Evil Dead, you don't watch Evil Dead for that kind of stuff though. You watch Evil Dead for the deadites, the gore, the zombies, the right? You don't really go there for like for the more emotional aspects of it, right? There's other movies to watch that. But if they were to go that way, I would have liked them to handle it more with a little bit more, rather than making it very hammy. Like the third act, the very end, is very, very hammy. Like they throw it in your face. It's like not even subtle at all. Like she literally faces, this is still spoilers by the way, she literally faces her ex-husband brought back to life, and then there's a whole flashback sequence where he's like back to normal. It's like, but I love you, and then it's like all, you know what I mean? It's all corny. It's all corny. Who cares? It's gory. It's awesome. The vibes are crazy. But that's not even my biggest problem with, like, that's just how the archetype and stories in general. But my biggest pet peeve with these kinds of stories is the whole plot revolves around this MacGuffin, right? This knife that is the only knife that's capable of harming the Evil Dead, right? And that's all well and done. But the problem is, in the very same movie, we see them dismember and kill deadites, like without the knife. So the whole point is the deadites are searching for this knife that has the potential to like end them. Whereas in the movie, we see them die in ways without the knife. Lucien Buchanan's character literally dies, who by the way was the best deadite, halfway through the movie, dies without the knife. What? So to me, half the plot already, like, I had to turn my brain off and just ignore the logic part of it. They were all going, "Ugh, where is the knife? I need the knife." And also in this movie, you're definitely getting your fair share of the dumbest horror decisions of all time. And chief number one of this decision making is the brother-in-law. I'm saying this from the perspective of the final girl, right? The brother-in-law, bro, this guy, chief of the number one dumbest decisions ever. He does the stereotypical, oh, I'm gonna touch things that I shouldn't have touched, I'm gonna do all that thing, whatever. That's all well said and done, fine. Every character does that in an Evil Dead movie. You got to suspend your disbelief. But this guy, I swear to God, he literally, when I tell you this guy pissed me off, this is how you know the acting was amazing. And the actor who portrayed this character, so good, but he literally, I didn't know a person could piss me off so much just by standing there and doing nothing. Like, how are you just going to sit there and let your girlfriend die, get stabbed, and then run away? And then do the exact same thing later. And the weirdest thing about this movie was there were so many times where something absolutely batshit insane would happen, and then a few minutes later, the characters would be a little bit too composed. Huh? Like, for example, the mom and the grandma, I swear to God, they literally just saw the girlfriend go rabid and attack them, and then 2 minutes later, the mom is tucking in the grandma to bed. We're not even going to talk about the scene that happens after. But goddamn, this family's loony. This family is crazy. That just happened right in front of you, and you're going to just check under the bed and then act like everything's normal? Kiss your mom goodnight? Like, really? Okay. With these movies, it's literally about a demon possessing a bunch of people and then trying to get a little cut knife, right? So you got to suspend your disbelief just a little bit. So don't really think too hard about the plot. Like, if you're a huge like plot person, like, oh, this got to be intricate, oh, got a detailed plot. You're not getting like a Hereditary level plot or like an Obsession level plot with this movie. It's very bare bones, an Evil Dead movie. You're getting what you paid for. And with that comes the best aspect of the movie beyond the performances, the cinematography and the gore. 10 out of 10. So good. Legitimately, the way people die in this movie is some of the most disgusting, gruesome, terrible things you could ever lay eyes on, and you just can't look away. I swear. Like, one guy literally gets boiled alive in the lake. I think it's the same lake as Evil Dead Rise. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. Legitimately, so many crazy deaths and so many crazy stunts that you're like, this is the experience you're paying for. So good, so great. No problem with that. And it is a very French filmmaker, and well, I don't know what it has to do with him being French. There's a lot of like quick cut action pieces, not even action pieces. They're like setting up the tension. Like, for example, in the mortuary scene where the guy's like, doing the Dougie or dance moves or whatever, and then there's like a bunch of quick cuts in succession. The style, the rapid pace style, and the contrasted with the slowdown in the very tense scenes is very good, very tension building. And I have to say, the scene of the movie for me, 1,000,000,000%, 1,000,000,000,000% is the house dinner scene. If you haven't watched the movie, you might not know what I'm talking about, but the house dinner scene where they're all sitting together. If you've ever played Resident Evil 7 and you know what the Baker family is, it is so, the vibe, it is so reminiscent of that like kind of aesthetic. It's very surface level, like they're nothing like the Baker family, the family dynamic, but just the aesthetic of them sitting around in a table and they're all like zombified and they're having like they're talking normally, not normally, but you know what I mean, right? And it just gives me so much hope that the new Resident Evil movie is going to be good. If it's not going to be good, I'm going to be very sad and I'm going to be very, very angry, but it's okay. Not that review yet, but it just gives me hope that there are directors that can adapt the material of a Resident Evil movie. Like, imagine if there was a Resident Evil 7 movie with Eveline, bro. But if it happens, whoever directs it. But yeah, the tension in that scene, my God, when it keeps panning to the father's hands and like what he's about to do with it, and then the quick subtleties of it's like if you're blinking you miss it, like how the daughter-in-law reacts with like moving the knife away after she sees what the father was doing, and like just the dog keep barking, and even the way like the mom, even though the mom wasn't actually like a deadite yet, how she was somehow scarier to me than the father. Like that was some serious stuff. So scene of the movie to me, 1,000,000,000% the family dinner scene. Somehow not even the worst family dinner I've been a part of, but that's a whole other discussion. The movie, for all of its faults, is exactly what you're getting. It is an Evil Dead movie. They haven't really changed much of the formula. It's the same exact plot line that you've seen 3 or 4 times already. If you like that style of movie, then boom. But I will say, if you did not like the previous Evil Dead movies, don't bother watching this one. I mean, like, come on. Why? It's the same. It's Evil Dead, right? All my problems were just boiled down to the fact that the plot is shitty, and the third act was literally like the final Deadite looked. It didn't even look like a Deadite. It just looked like a Terminator blood skeleton just slowly walking at the person, and it was like, it's like, oh, it's scary, like that was the least intimidating thing I've seen. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty fast paced. There's a lot of action in it. I'm giving it a horror 7 out of 10.